Welcome to the T.A.C. show with none other than not our host, but our special guest. After many recommendations for many years, we finally have Albert Vangeli on here.
Hey there.
Now, Albert, tell me your beginning. Now you have many talents, whether it be with band, whether it be with singing, or with firefighting. Which one do you want to talk about today?
Well, seeing as you got me out of the firehouse, so let's go with the firefighting.
So, what got you into firefighting?
Well, exactly all entirely no. I remember my youngest memory of interacting with the fire department's got to be. I was pretty young then. I don't remember how old I was, but I went out to Dryden for the fireman's day, whatever it was. I don't know if it was a fireman's fair or what it was, but they had the ladder truck. They gave us rides in the bucket truck, and they gave us a little helmet. I still have that little blue plastic helmet, no chin strap, that says Junior EMT on there. It's funny, I'm going for my EMT now, actually, as we speak. I'm about a week out from test out day. But that was probably my youngest memory of the fire service. So I wouldn't say that's exactly what got me into it. What probably, sent me the extra mile, I had a cousin in Long Island who was chief of the Wyandanch Fire Department, youngest chief on the island at the time. And funnily enough, that's where I bought my car from. Used to be a chief's vehicle back when he was in the department. Well, no, at that point it was a safety officer. That car's about as old as I am. But I'd have to say it was between having a cousin who was in the fire department in Long Island, because every time I was down there, he'd take me down to the firehouse, and every time we get a call, I'd get to ride along in the chief's car with him and sit there and watch the firemen go to work. But I think it was between that, interactions with Lansing the one or two times a year, or one or two demonstrations I remember going to at our fire department here put on, and 2 times the school children visit the firehouse. I did that once. And between that and the thing I did out in Dryden when I was younger, and watching the television show Emergency on reruns growing up, kind of just all subliminally put that in my head that, well, Vangeli, you could probably be a fireman. And so, as time went on, I kind of, thought maybe that's a good career option. And eventually, I want to say 2019 was when I really got involved with, because I play, this ties in a little bit with my singing talents and my YouTube channel and whatnot, is I play, my off time, I'll play Roblox and whatnot, and I got heavily involved in this Roblox firefighting community, and it's usually a bunch of kids who grew up around the firehouse who also spend way too much time on their computer, or firefighters who have nothing better to do with their 2 days off from their 24-hour shift, or and they all share this passion for the fire service, and they like to get people interested in, and kids who play this, some of them do go on to become volunteers like I did, or they go on to become paid firefighters like I hope to. And I'd say about 2019 I got involved with that. I was playing a game that happened to have Squad 51 from the show Emergency on there, and I never would have stayed in that community, I think, if I hadn't found that little Easter egg in there. And as time went on, I met with a group of people in a game that had a simulated junior firefighter program, and this was 2020, school was shut down effectively. I had maybe one project to do that whole year for English. It was a passion project, 9th grade English. I did it on fire exploring, because that's what I had heard about from a lot of these people in these communities. So I'm like, I might as well do a full project on it, because it's all I've remotely, looked into for the past year. I was never a fire explorer per se, but it was through the research with that I found out in Lansing, at the age of 16, you can join the fire company here as a junior member. You get to do pretty much everything a regular fireman gets to do, except stand out in the middle of a road and go inside a burning building.
So what got you into Emergency? It seems to be the thing that started it all for you as a firefighter, but what got you into it in reruns? What struck you and what attracted you to the show as a kid?
I don't know if it was the excellent theme song that it had. There, of course, written by Nelson Riddle, which a lot of people don't know. This was Frank Sinatra's band leader for the longest time. Or if it was, let's see, Nelson. If it was if it was that or if it was, you know, the 70s vehicles, and in fact it was an older show. That show started right up in 1972 actually to, you know, drive public support for the first bit of legislation, at least in the state of California, that would go towards establishing the current modern EMS system as we know it. And I feel like when I came out of the womb, I listened to Glenn Miller music. I had a CD there. My grandfather loved Glenn Miller. I loved Glenn Miller. I was always an old soul to begin with, and I think with the territory came, I watched a lot of with that territory. I watched a lot of older television shows on, you know, channels like Me TV or Cozy TV or Get TV. What do they call it now? Antenna TV. I don't know. It's all the same. But I just kind of got into emergency at a young age. It was something to watch, and it was fun. You know, what little kid doesn't love firemen and fire trucks?
So your grandfather, he helped get you into what you're currently into now. He helped shape you as a human being.
Well, somewhat. Until like probably the years leading up to his death, I had no idea that he also was a Glenn Miller fan.
Oh.
But I had talked with him sometimes. That was we called him Grandpa Vangeli because my father, child of divorce, but his biological father, you know, of course from the Portland area, his father Philip actually founded the Van Drug Co. Of Cortland, New York. Now that's the Cortland Photography location, but that same building used to be a drugstore with a soda fountain until my great grandmother. Would it be? Yeah, great grandmother. Oh, she'd be great aunt technically. Phyllis, bless her soul. She. I remember she came up to Cortland a few years ago, and we were doing the whole tour of locations from when they were growing up, and she said that, you know, it wasn't until they had a soda fountain there until she and her friends turned 16, then he took it out. But I mean, definitely, I think, I don't know, vicariously or through the stories I heard, I, you know, became the person I am, where, you know, I ended up being such an old soul, or if that's just the card I was dealt, you know, from birth, and just kind of will forever perpetuate that. I mean, I heard somewhere that you weren't born in the wrong generation. You were born to keep the old one alive.
That's pretty good, yeah. I remember when I was in 6th grade, I was really into like 1980s music. I was really into synth pop. I would talk about it all the time to like my English teacher, Miss Cole. I think she's retired now. I'm pretty sure she retired.
Miss Cole?
Yeah.
I think she retired. Last time I was at the school for the fire alarm, I didn't see the name on the door because we were right at the head outside of those two rooms. You remember, it was that corner stairwell near the end of the old building.
And she told me I was born in the wrong generation, and that's, I think I was 10, 11 years old. I think that's how I first learned about that phrase.
Old soul.
So what fully committed you to getting into like firefighting? What made you like think I'm going to finally do this? I'm going to finally pursue this as a career?
I was about probably 15 when I was doing that whole project that led me to discover, you know, it was a statement from Chief Purcell. He's no longer chief. He stepped down the year before I joined the fire department. I joined in 2021. But that at 16 you could join the fire company because he himself, it was probably, I think, 1985, he joined Lansing as a junior member. And so it was, you know, just stumbling upon that I said, you know, well, if someone like that can go in, start at a place at such a young age and, you know, eventually work their way to being the chief for so many years, I could probably give that for a spin. Even if I don't make chief, it'll still be fun. And so when I turned 16, waited a little bit, and with help from Mr. Ferguson at the school, I put in my application for the fire department on April 27th, which is, I don't know if any of your viewers are firefighters or they've seen the posters around at the end of April that go around town, but Recruit NY Day, it was actually put together a few years ago by the State Office of Fire Prevention and Control to help, you know, drive up the numbers of volunteers, because that's slowly a dwindling list of people who actually have time to give away to fire companies, and if they do, you know, it's often their last thought. So we just put that out there to, get more people to sign up. I think the campaign tagline is "They're firing you," and sure enough, there wasn't me. I signed up that day. About 6 months later, I had my six hours of introductory training in, my all of my paperwork taken care of, and when I finally remembered to check my email to come for the second part of my 6 hours of, introductory training, I was part of the fire department. And after a little time there, I decided, I love doing this so much. Why not make a career out of it? It's not even about the pay. Sure, if I can get paid to do this, that's great and all, but, I might, it's just about, how many more people I can help, how many more, calls I can go on if I go work for an organized paid fire department like Ithaca.
So, what was it like being a firefighter during the pandemic? Was that hard at all, starting out like right around the pandemic?
Well, actually, I don't entirely have the right to answer that question. That would be a better question for Miss Sweeney or for Mr. Ferguson, because they were firefighters and EMTs during the pandemic. I joined April 27th, 2021. The pandemic was effectively done for at that time. Things were opening back up. I don't think we were even on the wacky school schedule anymore. I think we were actually back to full in class at the time, but sure, now every call that we get, if it's a medical call, one of the questions that dispatchers have to ask everyone when you call 911 and say, look, I'm having trouble breathing, is, have you had any signs or symptoms of COVID recently? Have you had a COVID test? So, that's forever changed the way, calls are dispatched, our approach to, is the scene safe? Do we need to wear our, N95 masks on this difficulty breathing call?
Was the mask mandate really that annoying or hard at all, or how'd you deal with what was that like?
I was there when we still, I think, had a mask mandate in the firehouse, but I can't say we did actually. I was there. There was 2 weeks we had a mask mandate in the firehouse, and that's because a few people had gotten sick. Other than that, I can't remember a time when we actually had to wear them in the firehouse, but in school, it was a pain. I didn't like it. Sure, the cloth masks were nice, but I didn't like it. I'm a very verbal guy. I like to talk. It gets in the way. Actually, I got cloth in my mouth.
Yeah, it turns out those cloth masks, they only prevent 10% of the germs. The N95s.
Oh, they definitely weren't effective at all. The N95s, those are where it's
surgical masks. I think they got if I remember correctly, I saw a study about a year or two ago said 40%, and N95s was around 75% to 95%. And I remember I saw some people they were always some of them always wore N95s. It was interesting how different people handled different things during the pandemic.
Yep.
So what was your first call like?
First call. This is an interesting one. There's one that's off the books for reasons, and there's one that's officially my first call on the books. Both of them are good.
Oh.
Which one do you want is the question.
I guess whichever one you did first, because that's your first call.
And it's the off the book one. So, remember I said, by the time I finally checked my email, I'd probably been 6 months when I officially fully had the time to fully get involved in the fire department, so that would have been around June, I'd say 9th or so. 9th, that was a little more than the 9th, because school was already out, I think, probably late June, early July.
How many months did it take being in there to get used to?
Honestly, it was just that one time, and some guys down there were a firefighter. I don't know if you know Nate Sill. He was a Lansing grad probably when I was going in as a freshman, maybe a year prior. But he's a fireman up at the county airport, but the Ithaca International Airport, as we call it now. Forever be the county airport to me. But he's said that, that happens to every firefighter at least once in their career. So, it just happens. It was technically, I want to say technically I was on the insurance because I was in the department. I just didn't have the full knowledge of what I was getting into when I did that. So it was perfectly fine. I wasn't seriously hurt at all. So. I don't see why they made such a big deal about it. Just, whoa, we weren't expecting that from new guy. But it took me about probably the next call, I was fine. Next call immediately after that, my first official call, technically, was we had just gotten back from the station because it was a truck check night. Just got back because Thursdays we train, Tuesdays we check the trucks. And so we had just gotten back home. I'm probably walking in the door. My phone goes off. We've got a little app, we call it. I am responding. Oh, no, let me pull it up actually. So
Do you need like a special fireplace ID to get it, or how does it work?
Yeah, you need an agency ID and you need all of that. They give us a little app, shows us all of our calls, and it makes a noise whenever. You see if I can get it to play. Makes a noise whenever we get a call. I go into my settings here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Ringtone custom. There we go. I've got a custom setting on mine. That's actually the tones from that show I was talking about, Emergency. But so we have that, and at the time I had that because I didn't have a pager, but they also give every firefighter, so we have an app that notifies us of a call, but they also give us a fire pager. And usually it plays the tones. That one didn't have tones with it because that was, I think, a third activation, so at that point they were just telling us to stand down or whatever, or asking for, anybody at this point, but
yeah. So, like,
they notify us, so I go down to the station. The engine's already left, and as soon as I get there, we parked in the back, and Mr. Ferguson happened to also park in the back and was just getting there, so, he gets the door for me, because at the time I didn't have a key fob. Now I've got, a key fob to get into the station, but before, I didn't, so we go in. I remember it was one of the firefighters who lives out that way, and then it was Mrs. Sweeney and Mr. Ferguson and myself who were on the heavy rescue. It was a fire on Asbury Road. We get there. I stood there. I was the accountability officer for that incident. So I stood there in my fire gear holding a bundle of little ID cards on keychains that the county gives out to all the firemen that says, what their level of certification is and who they are. It's got a little photo of them on there. That way. And the purpose of these is you give one to your accountability officer if it's a major incident, and then you leave the other tag by the door of the building before you go in. That way, you go in there and oh, the roof fell in. Well, we got everyone? Yeah, I think so. Whereas with the tags, you go, oh, the roof fell in. You go check the tags. Who do we got? Okay, you. Okay, we're missing so-and-so. Okay, I need you and you to go in there, get him. And so that's why we use the accountability tags, but yeah, anyways, what was your next question, Tom?
Yeah, so what's the hardest challenge you faced as a junior firefighter? What's the hardest challenge you've had to overcome?
As a junior, it's just, really, lasting long enough and, lasting long enough there and just, dealing with the fact that there are some calls you'll go on or you won't be able to go on that you really can't do anything on there because you're too young. I mean, there's other ones, but, I remember that was something, especially, as I got closer to my 18th birthday, because once you're 18, you age out of the junior program, you become a full-fledged fireman. That's different from department to department or country to country, but in New York, that's the way it is. If you're 16, you're a junior, your job is to sit and watch and do menial tasks in the fireground that don't put you in immediate danger. In other states, like down south, you're 16, they're sending you into the fire. I had a friend who actually does that. But jokes aside here, the hardest part, it's probably just waiting to see what you can or can't do. We had, I want to say, I was 3 days before this incident happened. I had just went through the Cortland boot camp and got my interior certification. So I was fully certified, at least by the state, as an interior firefighter. But per department policy, until you're 18, you're not supposed to throw on an air pack and actually, go ahead and fight a fire as the guy on the nozzle. So it's probably, I want to say, this was a Saturday, so I want to say 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm not entirely awake. Tone's dropped. We've got a car that's just caught on fire on Route 13 up by the airport. So we get up there as SUV, Jeep Cherokee. I still have my glasses on at this point because in the mornings I don't sleep with my contacts in. I mean, now that I'm living at the firehouse, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Then change them out in the morning. But at the time, I wasn't sleeping with my contacts in. And so when I wake up in the morning, I put on the glasses. And the glasses are all well and good on a fire scene. And, you know, you look at all the pictures of volunteer firefighters from backline, you'll see a bunch of them had glasses or even paid guys. That's because they didn't have to wear smoke masks back then, but now we have our SCBA mask for our air tank, and that's got a seal on there that if you wear glasses, the seal doesn't hold up and smoke gets in. So, not to mention also the pressure with the glass on there just hurts. But, that's why, you know, so I had to take off the glass, and I can't see, if I were to pop out my contacts now, I can't see Tom sitting right here in front of me.
Oh man, that's...
So, we go, yeah, use your electronic devices, kids. It'll do wonders for your eyes. But anyways, I'm sure I just had bad card dealt vision-wise. Couldn't have anything to do with incessant use of my electronic device. But jokes aside, we get there, second arriving engine company, and the only reason we had a tax started on the fire at that point was because the guy who drove Engine 5 up there, or 05 as we call it, up to the scene, a pump operator or engine driver from Dryden happened to be passing through on Route 13, stopped to assist our engine operator with running the pump before one of our chiefs got there and could take over. And so they had a tax started on the car. I get there, I was told to pack up, and so I throw my air pack on. I'm taking out my glasses, jam them to a pocket on my gear, or leaving them on the tailboard of the truck. I'm not sure what I did with them. All I know is they were intact when I put them back on, so that's good. Wherever I put them, they were fine. But we, so I can't see very well at all now. I've got the mask on my face, air pack on. Someone's Jeep Cherokee's up there, you know, big ball of fire. So I'm probably third man in on the hose line, because there's a lot of pressure running through that. So the more people to help, you know, hold it down and help move it around, the better it generally goes for the person at the nozzle. And eventually, through the chain of events, I somehow end up as the guy on the nozzle. So I'm in the grassy part just off to the side of 13 there. And all of a sudden, the car flares back up again. We had it out, it flares back up again. So I throw the nozzle, and I catch the edge of the pavement, the edge of the grass, and the bottom of the car. Everyone standing there gets covered with mud. I put the fire out, but everyone got a new color on their turnout coat. One of the chiefs finds me afterwards. He goes, "Hey, when do you turn 18? I'm like, 8 days, sir. In 8 days. I wasn't even 18 yet. So that's definitely the hardest thing as a junior firefighter, especially once you get your certifications, knowing what to do and not being able to do it by law.
Yeah. How do you struggle with the fact that you can't like save everyone? Do you ever think about that much, or like do you ever like sit down and reflect on that, or is that hard?
I mean, I can't say I don't. I was about to say if I did that, I wouldn't be in this business, but the fact is there's really no way to not do that. In the past, I want to say since August, I have seen at least 5 people die on calls. I've come in on people who've been dead for over 12 hours. I've come in on people who, just dropped to the ground and had compressions started on them within seconds of dropping to the ground. We've worked them till we couldn't see straight, and they still didn't come back. I mean, and I've seen people go from, getting nailed by a car, up walking around, to down on the ground, nothing we could have ever done for them. And there's, I've seen a lot, maybe 5 since August, but you know, it never gets easier with each one. You just get used to it, or as the deputy chief always says, you don't get used to it. You don't ever get used to it. You just think you do, is what he says. Always says every time I say. At this point, you just kind of get used to it.
That's just like a really hard feeling of like getting older, you know, becoming a full-on firefighter, seeing these type of hard things.
No, exactly. We get there. I mean, and you know, most people, it's, you know, and if there was anything more we could have done, for me, you know, we're midway through. I know we're doing all we could do, and if I don't see improvement, I already just start mentally preparing myself for the disappointment that, yeah, we're not saving this one.
You just try to make the most you can out of a bad situation?
Pretty much. And I mean, you know, I heard somewhere, you know, and I've seen this thing, you know, some people cope different ways. Some people, you know, bottle it up. Some people, hell, I'm guilty of that. Some people, you know, go and talk to someone. Some people, it's why they smoke or drink. Other people, that's why, other people, they just, you know, have a sick sense of humor about it, is, you know, how they deal with the trauma. But, I mean, you just, I mean, in a way, in a messed up kind of way, you kind of just get used to it. I mean, hell, just the other night, what's today, Sunday? Just,
Yeah, it's Sunday.
How many days ago was Thursday?
Thursday, I think Thursday was 3 days ago.
Yeah, just, hell, 3 days ago, we had a fatal, and, you know, it doesn't get easier, but, you know, you just have the reassurance of knowing you did all we could, and it was just their time.
Yeah, well, I know it's gotta be serious, it's gotta be hard, but has there been what's the funniest, like, fire trip you've had at the fire station? What's the funniest, like, thing you got to talk about?
Oh, I've got a few. So, there are stories I've been told by people from back when the bunk rooms were in the old part of the station, not the new edition. From the late 80s, back when we still had the ambulance. They used to, so this was back when you could have alcohol in the firehouse. We used to have a beer machine. Now there's a supply closet where that used to be. But this was back when it was a different time in our country, and, you know, things were less regulated. The guys living there used to close out. I don't think this place is even here anymore, the waterfront. It was a bar. They'd come up probably 2 in the morning. They'd go up here. The after party would be here. The meeting hall used to be a lounge. There used to be couches and television sets there. The current old, quote unquote, old lounge used to be someone's office. That's how much, you know, things have changed at the station there. We used to have district secretary's office was where the current old lounges, and the new lounge is an entirely new part of the building that wasn't around. But they used to, one time they put one guy on one of the stretchers, and these were back when we had the ambulance.
So have you ever dealt with any really hilarious fake calls? Like, I know there was a kid years ago who, not around here, but he called 911 to get a pizza. Have you ever had any instances like that, really funny?
Oh, we've had a few. We have definitely had a few. I have had, what's one that I had? I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, we had someone call 911 to have us replace the batteries in their smoke detector once.
Oh.
That was a fun one.
Oh.
So, for those of you that don't know, your smoke detector chirping because the batteries are low is not an emergency that you need to call the fire department for. Oh, we had that. I remember we had one guy out towards the village. We got a call. This was a legitimate reason to call because his alarm wasn't chirping because the battery was out. It was chirping because it detected something. It turned out that it was nothing, so we determined from that it was on the fritz. We had another one. So it was over by the school. We had a call for a CO alarm. The CO alarm, again, was on the fritz. It wasn't, we don't know if it was a battery issue or if the model was just bad, but it was going off and we didn't get any readings on our gas meter, so we were trying to figure it out. And so we're there, one of our chiefs was driving the truck, it was my dad and I. We go in, the gas meter, we're searching around, So at this point, they're at second activation for a second call that's come in for a construction crew over at one of the apartments on Warren Road that struck a gas main inches away from underground electrical wires. So this is a very urgent call, this other call. Like, if we don't get there soon, there's a chance that, if those wires were broken, we most certainly would have, that apartment complex would have been blown to kingdom come. But thankfully it wasn't, and, it was saved. And I say, got it all under control, and we wet it down enough where it wouldn't have, blown its top. But we had to go to this. So, because we were at another call, we couldn't figure out, the meter wasn't reading anything, but the thing was still going off. So the people who own the house, they had to go out on the town for something, dinner, I don't know, maybe they had to go to a show or something like that. But they go, all right, well, I guess just, there's a key under the doormat, just, if you guys need to go, we'll be out of the house, but just leave a note, and see if you can find anything. So we go to the other gas call at the other end of the district. We get that under control. We come back. We had to walk through, and we determined that it was just the detector was bad because we're looking at the date on it. We realized that we read it wrong the first time around. It was in fact expired. So, reminder: change your smoke detectors and your CO detectors after 10 years. But yeah, no, we had that. But we've had our fair share of interesting calls that are usually just alarm calls. The other one, like the shopping mall over there, off Trip Hammer, that goes off all the time. I can tell you tonight it's not a surprise if I end up going at 3 in the morning to go reset the alarm there.
Yeah, there's a lot of false alarms, and I've heard stories from parents who, like, say the 4-year-old kid just pulls the alarm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a few of those. Cold alarms.
So it is really interesting to hear about it. So did your EMT journey start the same as your firefighter journey?
Okay, so I joined to fight fire. I had no intention of joining the rescue squad or joining fire department to run rescue calls and do EMS stuff. Now, that changed probably when I met the guy who was our EMS director at the time. And, we hit it off, and since I wanted to hang out around the firehouse and he was living there at the time with a few other EMTs, I kind of just fell in with the EMTs. So it would be, 3 or 4 people living at the station. John Lashinsky and myself, we would hang out there. And most of the bulk of them were EMTs. So we would be there, shooting the shit, watching TV, pardon the language there, watching TV and, playing Xbox. And every time an EMS call would come out, we'd hop in the vehicle and go with them. So I would try to hit every call that came in, EMS or fire. Eventually I did so many of these. One of the chiefs was like, you gotta stop going on EMS calls until you're at least 18, because one of these days you're gonna see something that's gonna live with you for the rest of your life. I'm like, all right, chief. I mean, it's gonna happen eventually, but, why stop me now? But, I listened to him because I was a good firefighter. I mean, granted, I was in and out of the chief's office at least once a week when I was a junior firefighter for getting yelled at for something I shouldn't have done that was beyond what I was legally allowed to do as a junior firefighter. But that just shows I've got gumption, not that I can't follow orders. Doesn't matter, because now I'm in the top 3 people who, if you call 911, there is a very good chance I show up, and you know that personally. But now the EMT journey, I want to say, started after I turned 18, especially once I decided that, I wanted to be a paid firefighter, and I realized that to do that, I need an EMT card. So my class started August of this year, and I'm almost to the test out date, but since September, we've had one bunker at the station who's living at the station. He and I will go on and most EMS calls that come in.
What was it like turning 18, being finally you're a regular old firefighter, you're gonna have the potential to get on the EMT? What was that like for you, transitioning to that new era?
I've never had more respect shown my way at the firehouse than the day I turned 18. I had down, they gave me my Carnes 1010 helmet in exchange for my blue Bullard LTX salad bowl helmet for without giving me any without giving me any crap about it. They let me ride shotgun on the fire engine on every call that came in that day. Oh, it was great. It was, Mr. Vangeli, you are a man now.
Now, what percentage of like junior firefighters make it into regular firefighters? Like, what percentage, if you had to guess, they're junior firefighters and they come back from college and for like 3 to 4 months every year they do firefighter stuff. Like, what percentage of people do you think do it like just not because of the community service part, but do it because they want to help people?
Of all the people who joined as junior firefighters, when I joined as a junior firefighter, maybe 2 of us who were junior firefighters are still in the department. Only one of us has actually gotten all of their certifications, and that would be me.
So,
of all the people who joined the day I joined and became junior firefighters, with the exception of maybe Ms. Borman, who's in the Coast Guard now.
Divisions last year, it was like 12 people, and you did like medic stuff, and you had like him and Tennessee did medic stuff. I think Colin, Sarah, Dean, and they did like the engineering things, sort of Brandon and Rowan, they did the engineering stuff, and then like the life science, and I remember Lulani and Audrey and Alex, yeah, they did life science. But this year it's such a big change. I don't know why, but this year it's like there's only 5 people who do divisions.
Yeah, I never had the drive to do divisions. That's why I'm gonna go work civil service.
2 do life science, and wow, man, I forgot one of them does. 2 of them do medical, and I forgot what the other one does, but they're all girls. Like, no dudes are doing new visions this year. And that's like really shocking.
Really? I'm surprised. Yeah, the new visions program looked pretty promising.
There was only, I think there was only like 4 girls who did it last year, if I remember it correctly. I could be wrong, but it's like 4 out of the 10 or something like that.
The balance has changed.
And now it's like different, and it's really interesting to witness. I didn't even know what that type of stuff was when I was like sophomore. I got very confused why there was like some seniors who were there in the very beginning, and then they left. They were gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They've gone to Cornell. I remember a bunch of them last year ended up going to Slope Day.
Oh.
Slope Day. Yes, my favorite.
What's that?
Slope Day. So, I actually have a good fire story with this one too, but I'll go with what Slope Day is first. So it's a Cornell tradition. I don't know if it's a fraternity thing or just a Cornell thing, but if you've ever been by like the main library on the campus, on like that main stretch of road that is like the heart of the Cornell campus, but they've got the library there and there's that big slope there, the big hill. So it's called Slope Day because of that slope, but it's basically just a big drinking and music festival. It's a big college party. And so a bunch of the Cayuga Heights Fire Department, our neighbors over there to the other side of the 13 overpass, they come help us out with our fires in the village a lot, and any calls we don't go to, they get sent out to eventually, but they're usually there first for anything in the village because they sit over there. They watch the monitor. As soon as they see fire pop up on the monitor, they're on those trucks and out the door. But very, very well put together. Great response time out of that department. But the majority of their fire department, much like Varna Fire Company, is it's a large population of Cornell students who go there. They live in the area or they live in the fire station. They're firefighters, and so they're very good about getting their people trained in a timely manner and making sure that everyone goes and gets their certifications taken care of. So we had like 4 people from Cayuga Heights in my class when I took. In some places they call it scene support, and then the interior is called firefighter 1. In New York, we changed how we do things, so there's BFO, which is exterior firefighter for people who don't want to go into the burning buildings or plan to go ahead to interior and need BFO in order to get IFO, which is what we call our interior firefighter operations class. So when I was taking BFO, I was down at the inlet over in Ithaca, the fire burn tower there that IFD has. And at the time, there was 4 of us, and the last actual class day that we had, the last thing where we were going to have to do a skills day and actually go out and do stuff that we read about in the textbook was I want to say that was the day after Slope Day, or a few days after. No, it was definitely the day after, because I've never heard of a hangover that's lasted for more than one day. But a bunch of the Cornell students who were in that class were very hungover. And so this was probably, I want to say, June. It was a very hot June day. The sun's beating down on us, and we had to go dig in a dirt pile. So we had, and a bunch of these guys, I won't name names because they're all still at CHFD. They're all still firefighters there, but we're sitting out there, the poor guy is complaining, and, oh, it hurts, it hurts. The guy had the worst hangover of his life, and he's out there digging in the dirt.
Why was he digging in the dirt?
So they were having us do what's called spill controls during our hazmat first responder operations section of our exterior firefighter class. And so what we were doing was, say, tanker truck overturns on 34B, absolutely eats it. The top of that valve is blown open, it's pouring out gasoline or chemicals or something right into, so-and-so's field. So we get there, I come off of engine 23 up at the top of the corner there, and grab a shovel off the side. I don't have anything to plug spills with that, so my first thought here is I'm going to start grabbing dirt from the side of the road, and I'm going to start piling up a little dam of sorts here to kind of block that gasoline from getting into the ditch and, running off into the groundwater or into the lake. So that's what the whole purpose of why we're out there digging in the dirt on a 90-degree day. I want to say I felt bad for the guys who were hungover, but they paid the price.
So
it was well worth it. We had a cookout afterwards.
Cookout? Oh,
yeah.
Like
cookout at Stewart Park afterwards, because that was the day we got our certifications.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So, what got you into, you also did chorus singing in the past. What got you into singing?
So, I think that ties back to the whole old soul thing with, listening to, Glenn Miller and Big Band and all of that. I think in the children's choir with the church when I was younger, back when, I don't know if we even still have that, but I was, in that. I was in a lot of little small ensemble singing groups, and so I was a choir kid always, and, obviously in elementary school I was in the choir there, middle school and high school, and all of that, all the way up to varsity chorale. And so I guess just, doing that in school, but also a lot of the music I listened to, I like the crooners and whatnot, Sinatra, Martin, and Bennett, all those guys. So, just listening to that, I always liked, singing like that, and I could very well, sing like that, still can. And so I just kind of got into singing, I guess, through, being in a small ensemble children's choirs, I guess, and just listening to old music.
So you went to area All-State, right?
Yes, I did.
Is that junior year, sophomore year, around there?
It might have been senior year. That was senior year. Yeah, no, that was definitely senior year.
So what was that like? What was the journey leading up to that? What was that area All-State experience like?
Honestly, if we were supposed to practice at all before that, I did this mandatory amount of times I had to, and then nothing outside of that. I was not a very good musician in school in terms of actually practicing, and it showed, especially with band, because I was one of the worst trombonists in that section. But with vocals, it just kind of rolled right off the tongue. I mean, you could come into my room, push me out of bed, dump cold water on me, shake me up, slap me across the face, and say, "Alrighty, now sing, pal." And it comes off like Sinatra. I was a good singer. I mean, I could put my voice through literal hell the night before and go out and sing well the next day.
Was it just a genetic thing, you think, or?
Oh, there's no way. Oh, but it's genetic. It's from my mom's side.
Oh.
It didn't come from my dad, that's for sure.
Just have like, man, most people would like drink honey and stuff or something.
Oh, I definitely did that, but a few times. But you know, for the most part, just goes on. He was there in the air over Berlin, do-do-do-do. And the boys said it clear as a bird. Pilots, Bobby Dick, come on boys, let's drop one here for Peggy, the pin-up girl.
No.
Like that.
No.
Like that.
What was it like getting the ultimate senior role of Mr. Wormwood? A role not just like I assume you wanted, but everyone else you knew around you really wanted this to be you to be that role. Like, what was that like? Getting that role?
Oh, it was great. Honestly, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And I will say the entire dance for telly was entirely my own. I have no idea what I did to this day, but it was entirely my own. We had choreography, but because I couldn't dance and sing at the same time, because I didn't have the dance part memorized when they finally got a spot for me to learn the choreography, I entirely pulled that out of God knows where at the last possible minute and put that together, and kind of did the same thing here and there for every rehearsal and performance since, you know, that rehearsal, and it kind of just stuck for the show.
So
So it was a lot of fun, you know. I've never, you know, had more fun doing a character than, you know, when I got the role of Mr. Wormwood.
What inspiration did you use to drive your character? Like, how did you make sure this performance was authentic and like
Acting?
as amazing as possible? just acting?
I wasn't acting.
Oh, you wasn't acting? But like,
I just went, and I thought, again, pardon for the language, how much of an asshole can I possibly be?
Oh, yeah.
And I took that and I said, all right, I'm going to be a, you know, but I'm going to be a musical one.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
So it's just based off like the stereotypes you see in like media and stuff.
Pretty
The
much.
scumbag like Carmen and stuff.
Entirely.
Yeah. So you just looked around you and you really put that into your character.
Yeah. Not only am I going to sell you, you know, a piece of crap car that's not going to start about 5 days from now, but I'm going to be absolutely horrible to all of my kids except my idiot son. And to my wife.
How did it feel like being on top, like being at the end of your high school, like having this role that everybody loves, like the role that people think of when they think of the show, the role that people want to go see when they go see this show? How did it feel to like that, to have like such, to have feel? How did that feel?
Honestly, I mean, I was pretty sure that I was going to get the role because, I mean, how many people do you know that, you know, almost perfectly fit that role? I mean, I hate to sound full of myself there, but I took one look at the script, watched, you know, the attached performance they had. I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm not going to get that role. It's like perfectly written for me.
Yeah, I do. You know,
But I kind of expected it, but it was definitely really great that I got it.
I do like the new senior priority these days. You don't believe that the new musical, we got like 70 people signing up,
Wow.
and those are like, that's,
Well, it's lame is. You're going to get 70 people signing up. That's one of the most iconic shows out there.
you got so many freshmen, you got so many girls, so many boys across the 2 days. They made sure to spread it out that even like, yeah, even the teacher made sure like even the kids who were sort of young but really talented got a chance to be in this show. That's how like promising it is going to be, you know.
Oh,
I'm excited for am excited for the auditions, but it was really shocking because when I started out, like as a freshman, when we did the musical theater presentation, it was like 30 people.
Oh, wow.
And like not even the chorus director's own.
Bye Bye Birdie was fun, too.
Yeah, but not even the chorus.
Well, this is Griffin. Oh, wait. That's from the...
Not even the chorus director's own son, like not even he was in like the musical theater presentation. He was just sort of confused, you know. It was a pandemic. It was like an anthology, you know. It was very hard for everyone, but then Bye Bye Birdie just went blasting in, got 50 people, everybody who
Slowly
like,
picked back up.
Go. And so I have no clue how like many people Matilda had. If you had to
You
guess.
know why we did Matilda and not Les Mis my senior year?
Why not?
So the rationale that I had heard was that if we do Les Mis, there's no way we'll get enough kids. Clearly they were wrong because you had 70 people signing up now, but you know, at the time, based off of previous year's numbers, it was a correct assumption to go for. And did I have the time of my life being Mr. Wormwood? Yes, I did.
You know,
but yeah.
for Les Mis, they got a double cast because for Les Mis, just the male roles alone, I can think off the top of my head. There's Gavroche, Mr. Thénardier, Javert, Jean Valjean, all the 5 ABC's people and Joe Ross and Bishop Muriel and Mr. Foshel, and then the guy who gets the trolley picked up. So that's already like 12, 15 people.
12, 15 people. They definitely need to double cast.
Oh, they should probably got double cast for at least 3 parts. Definitely, they definitely should double cast for cassette.
But they took all the senior boys who actually did musical theater. They might have enough to put one person in every role.
Yeah, I remember like when I was in middle school, they had 50 people in productions, just the 7th and 8th graders. But like, because they would like every other day, a 7th and 8th grader would play different parts, and they would alternate. And they don't do it as much as an extent as they do now for some reason, but they did that a lot when I was in middle school.
Ah, makes sense. Yeah, they double cast a lot when I was in middle school. Hell, my 8th grade year, we did, what was it, Annie. I remember because I hopped to fly her down to the sunny shores of what was it, Marco Island, Florida, to watch my cousin get hitched. But, and I remember I was Rooster Hannigan that year, and, it was Steven who was double casting that role there. Yep, I remember.
Oh yeah. So what got you into trombone and stuff? I know you've like said you don't think you're like the greatest instrumentalist, but what got you into playing trombone?
So at the time I was probably either just starting piano lessons or maybe I hadn't started at all. Whatever. At the time I was probably taking piano lessons. I did that for quite some time, and so I was doing piano lessons and. In the 4th grade, well, really the end of the 3rd grade at Lansing in our school system, every boy and girl, every school child from the end of the 3rd grade is taken to the auditorium or the high school gymnasium, and they're either in the middle school auditorium or the high school gymnasium, and the high school band plays for them and shows off all the instruments. They are then told from there. Then the next day they get to try out all the instruments in the elementary school band room, which is a little hole in the wall just off the gymnasium. The orchestra room's the same thing, just on the other side. And they go in there, they get to play around with all the instruments, try them out, Then you put down in ranking order your top 4 choices. Trombone was probably 4th on that list. I wanted to play the trumpet. I wanted something where, I could, go up there, play lead on almost any song, and on Christmas morning, or any morning in particular, depending on what I want to do, blow reveille and wake up the whole house. That didn't happen. I got assigned to trombone. I had a chance to transfer, but I never took it, and I kind of just rode that out till I graduated. So whatever made me choose the trombone was I was assigned. I never actually chose the instrument. And what kind of just broke my spirits with, well, I'm stuck with this now, is that I found out Glenn Miller was, America's band leader back in the early 40s there, was a trombonist. And, so was Tommy Dorsey and a slew of other people back in the big band era. But Glenn Miller, of all people, I've listened to this guy's music since I came out of the womb. So I'm like, all right, I can do this. And then slowly just became a disappointment to the instrument, but it was fun while I had it.
Yeah. So what's the most funny story you got from doing a musical ensemble? Like the most hilarious, you'll never forget it. This was so hilarious. And you don't have to you can talk about it, but you don't have to give out names if you're worried at all.
I've got a few. Yes. The 7th grade, Guys and Dolls.
Yeah, I know about that one. Yeah.
So I was Big Joel, the gangster from Chicago. I came here to shoot crap, let's shoot crap. Long story short, there's a very specific scene in that musical when we're all lined up on the street corner. We all have our, red carnations, I think it was, and as was explained, it was supposed to be our ticket into the floating crap game there, which was going to be held in, the utilities room of the sewer beneath the city streets. And this was how we knew, I'm just a bum walking in there. They were someone who was, part of the game, was they had their red carnation, which in theory seems flawless. Now that I think about it, for 50s New York, how many people walked around with carnations? But, anyways, so that's probably in the book, definitely in the show, and the movie, but they're standing there, they're going over this, and everyone's favorite New York City policeman, Lieutenant Brannigan, walks by and, asks what the occasion is. So, all's going well and good, on the stage. And all of a sudden, the kid who was playing Lieutenant Brannigan comes to a dead stop. I think the poor kid forgot his line, so I kind of just blocked the mic, whisper what his next line is. And I see the panic come over this kid's eyes. He makes a dash to try to get off the stage, throws up right there, front and center. Like that, boom.
So,
I feel bad for the kid, but don't get me wrong. Now I look back at it, I'm laughing.
did the throw up end up on you? Or?
Oh, it didn't end up on me. It didn't end up on any of us. Just on the front centers. You know how there's that cut in the stage,
Yeah,
right
I
here,
see
that
that
was
cut, yeah.
scored with a knife or an axe? So it was probably about 3 feet to the left of that, front and center, that all landed. The kid just rushes off stage after, losing the contents of his stomach on the stage.
What was the audience's reaction?
I can't remember if they gasped or exactly what happened. I think they just all, kind of thing. And so, me and the other few up there, we're standing there. This look of panic on her face. And about a second later, I want to say it was Max who sets the ball rolling again. And he sets the ball rolling again. And he says, and he gets the show moving again, but we saved it.
Respects to him, yeah.
Yeah, respects to him. Yeah, we saved it. Well, he saved it. We just followed along. The show must go on.
I can't imagine being put in such a weird, really weird, awkward situation.
If that was up to me, here's how that would have gone. Kid throws up. Well, how do I follow that?
Let's see. Yeah, during one of the dress rehearsals for Bye Bye Birdie the lead, I was the doctor. It was weird pandemic times, but he got punched in the face, and then he but then somehow.
Did he actually punch him one night?
Then his nose started bleeding, and then I was giving out tissues, and then I was giving out doing stuff, and then he just ran off stage. I was just looking around confused.
Oh, he actually got punched, I think.
And someone had to explain to me that his nose was bleeding, and then one of the costume ladies put in the tissues, and he was here, have some tissues in case this happens again. So
hey, it worked.
So I had the tissues on me for the rest of the costume, and we never had dealt with any situation again. But it was it was one of those, man, I just didn't see that coming moments. Sometimes.
So committed to the role, his nose actually started bleeding.
Now, where did you get the name Super Spy Salsa from? What's the name?
Yes, my Discord tag is going back to the YouTube channel. All right, so in the 6th grade, remember those LYS programs we used to have?
The youth
Lansing
services,
Youth Services, yeah. They're still around, I'm sure. They're still there. So at the time, there was one club, they called it Video Gamers. We met in what was the gymnasium back in the 50s, the middle school, and that was still the high school, and now it's the middle school library, and forever will be, until either they decide we need a new middle school, which will be never, but that's beside the point. They could at least put air conditioning in there. That would be nice, but pet peeves aside, that was where we met. This was back when we still all had Dell laptops and not Chromebooks. We actually had desktops in the middle school library, because last I heard they don't have those anymore either. So I walked by, I've seen it. I look in the window at the light, nothing. It's just desks there. I think it's actually bookshelves now. It's it turned the dial back, nothing.
Yeah, I did the really old school computer labs.
Oh, yeah, no, well, we still have the computer lab. I'm sure they still have a computer lab in the middle school. High school, I, funnily enough, never had one. It was every other school had them, except for the one you would expect to have them. But that's beside the point. This was back when we actually had computers in the library. Just to put that in perspective. I say that it's weird that I'm saying back when, because computers are more of a new thing, but you get the picture. So, one of the things that us kids would do is, bunch of us played Roblox. So the first day of that club, I didn't have an account, so I just kind of threw together, hey, what are you playing over there, bud? Oh, I'm playing Roblox. I'm like, all right, how did I get there? Look it up. And I'm like, okay, this works. So I'm, typing that out. I just hit keys and put together a username, put together a password, got in, because I didn't want to be a guest. This was back when Roblox still had guest accounts. They don't anymore. This was, I think, like a year before they removed ticks for those of you who actually play Roblox.
What were ticks?
They were, you have Robux, you still have Robux, but ticks, you got about 10 of those daily for just logging in. You could exchange them for Robux, or you could buy some shirts and items with ticks. But I had a bunch. It's a shame they didn't convert it all to Robux, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so that was back when, that was all different. Before Roblox was public on the stock market, all that was just a little niche gaming site where people made their own games. You had fun. Still is that, but now, the whole age of people on platform has shifted. And it's now more 18, 20-year-olds and a bunch of that, not just children. So I think it's a lot of people who just grew up playing it and said, well, still fun. I've got a right to still play. And, but I just hit keys, and I couldn't remember the password when I got home that day. Pull out the family laptop. At the time would have been running Windows XP and on absolute life support. Wait, no, because I actually had it on my lap. This thing didn't function unless it was plugged in at a certain angle. No, so this wouldn't have been that laptop. This would have been my father's old laptop. That's right. This was the Lenovo. So, family laptop there, really my father's. Log in, punch in, I don't know where I pulled this name out of. It just kind of came to me, Super Spy Salsa. Boom. Typed it in, punched in something that's now no longer my password, and, that's kind of how that went. And then from there, it, just kind of stayed. And then when I got Discord, that ended up being my username for that.
So what's the story behind the Lego Man Games community server and community? How did that all come together? Like, what's the story behind it?
Alrighty, so it's probably 2019. At the time, I don't have a server. I'm just your average Roblox player and Discordian, so to speak there. And that Christmas, I want to say it was, I got two things. I got my MacBook, which I currently still have, and that's 17 MacBook at the time, and still 17 MacBook, so it's well lived past its expected lifetime of where it's actually, a usable computer, and that thing's on life support now anyways, so, yeah, but, anyways, jokes aside, if I unplug it, it turns off, but, that I had just gotten that was new to me. It actually acted like a computer should then. It didn't just, kick it twice, maybe it works. But, I desperately need a new computer. But, aside from that, I also got a book. This stood out to me on how to do stop motion with Legos, because I used to play with Legos a lot. Not so much anymore, but, I hope to get back into it eventually, just the spare free time activity, building little models of old cars and stuff, old buildings, stuff like that, but I should do that. So I read that, and after reading through the book, or probably knowing me, skimming it, I said, well, you know what? Let's do this. I can make a stop motion YouTube channel, just like I used to watch when I was a kid. Those of you who have not seen the Lego toilet fail by Tiger, I think it's Tiger Cinemas or whoever it was, from back, I want to say 2016, maybe 2010, 2007, I don't know, something like that. That stop motion video there, it was just a bunch of, at the time popular, but now just cringe memes overlaid with a funny animation of a plumber fighting with a stubborn turd in a public restroom. That's what got me into stop motion, saying, yeah, maybe a book on it, maybe I'll learn how to do it. And so I read the book, I'm like, how hard does this seem? This doesn't seem too hard. I got software on my phone, I can do this. Well, aside from that, how hard could it be being the famous last words that makes everyone eat it, I managed to put together a YouTube channel. I called it the Lego Man Games Network, and I figured, you know what? I will do this and call it the Lego Man Games Network because it's only a matter of time before I go from just doing stop motion with Legos to saying, or stop motion in general, to saying, you know what? I might want to play some games on this. I might want to make videos of that. And then, maybe, just maybe, maybe I'll do some singing on there. I don't know. So I went with network in there just because it makes sense for, just because of the vast amount of variety of content that would be going on there. And I say that like I actually frequently upload to it. I don't, but at the time I had planned to. So it made perfect sense. So fast forward, 2020, world shuts down, play a lot of stupid games, fall into a community with some guys who do like a San Andreas LARP thing, San Andreas roleplay type community on Roblox there. I still talk with some of those guys, and albeit a bit of encouragement. I was probably community manager at the time. I had worked my way up to that, and I was well liked in that community, and then they saw what guess I was, but it doesn't matter because the community fell in before they had a chance to do anything about it because it just kind of went one day. Things came to a head and it ended, but before it ended, I was, a bunch of the guys were like, Albert, you should start your own Discord server for your YouTube channel. I'm like, you know what, I think I might. And so the Lego Man Games Network community was born. And that's steadily grown from a ragtag club of about 5 or 10 people to who acknowledged I had a YouTube channel but probably watched it scarcely, and to 120-something people who are barely active with the exception of a few, probably don't even know the actual purpose of the servers that was put together for a YouTube channel, and spastically attend game nights whenever I'm bored. But now we've been around for a while and just kind of there. It's Wild West in terms of actually how it's managed. I mean, I will say, for my own leadership, the mod staff isn't exactly the greatest about enforcing the rules. I mean, things get wild at times, but we won't go into that for the sake in case any future employers find that.
But what's like the best clean memories you have of the server?
Well, clean memories takes out a bunch of those, but best clean memories, I will say there's let me go through quotes and see if I can find something that's not like all god awful terrible.
I know about the time when I think you were like it was during game night and the invasion of Ukraine happened. I remember that.
Oh yeah, boys, we're going to war.
I remember. I think one of the other members was announcing it. I was like, "Is this?" I was like,
that was Vodka probably. Yeah, Vodka's not with us anymore. He's still alive. He's just not in Lego Man anymore.
I was like, "Is this real?" And I checked Wikipedia and I checked the news and it was actually happening. And I was a junior in high school. First. I was 16 or. Wikipedia, some pages on Wikipedia are protected. You just can't go willy-nilly on them like you could a decade ago.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the reason why they do that. The reason why they do that.
Like someone...
Remember that guy who edited some rock star's Wikipedia to say that he was like his cousin or something so you get a backstage pass?
I don't know about that.
He goes,
no.
I'm his cousin.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I heard that. That was years. That was when I was in middle school. I heard that. It was probably an urban legend, but it's still funny.
But yeah, up until I was in like high school, nobody really none of the teachers were not very supportive of Wikipedia. They're like never use Wikipedia. Now I'm not sure. They don't really we don't really need like projects that need Wikipedia citations anyways. But I'm not sure. Maybe they're just more laid back now.
Yeah, Wikipedia is pretty spotty. Or they let you use Wikipedia now?
Yeah, they do. And even if the ones that don't, they allow you to like use citations from Wikipedia you got from Wikipedia. So that's like a free pass.
Alrighty, let me find.
Let's see. Let me go through quotes, see what I got. There's a bunch. This is just like our clips reel, basically, from the server's quotes. Nope, that's not clean. Nope, that's... this one. This one's funny. Here we are. That's probably not something I could say on here either.
Well, do you just have any funny stories you could talk about? Like, or are they too explicit?
I got one here.
Alright.
This was my friend. So we've got one of our guys in our server. His gamer tag's Wolfie. He's Canadian Navy veteran or whatever. The guy's probably the oldest one there. Let's be honest.
How old is he now?
Yeah, late 40s. Like 47. No kids, no wife. Works in some factory or something. He's just there to unwind and basically complain about his job. He's chill though. He's a cool guy. Has some good stories from when he was in the service. So he says this was back. Remember when the whole sky was orange because Canada was burning?
Yeah, I remember.
The
That
Quebec
was like
wildfires.
Mexico from Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, Mexico.
After
exactly.
school was shut down, there was memes everywhere. It was crazy.
No, I stood there and inhaled that stuff for a full minute, but yeah, but jokes aside, so he says Quebec is getting some French firefighters. The old ties still stand strong, I guess. And so one of us goes, they better not retreat in this battle. Oh, this is great. I did, that's right. When I was taking forensics, I put this one as a quote because it's also quotes that people hear IRL that they also put in here. Like they're just going through the day, they hear someone say something funny or whatever, they'll put it in here. So, I don't know if you remember, hey, did you take forensics with Hotchkiss or no?
No, I take it with Schneider now.
With
Schneider.
Schneider.
There's such a big popularity because all these young Gen Zers that like every Mr. Hotchkiss is jam-packed with all the sophomores.
Oh, I see. So if this image, I'll turn it so you can see, you'll probably see this because this is from our final, I want to say. We had to investigate a crime scene.
Oh, yeah.
That's very protected educational information, but I don't care. So it was this, and so it was this guy who's dead on the ground, like parking space. This looks like. Let's be completely honest, it's a parking space, but no, it's inside, so it's something. Whatever, that doesn't matter. So, and he's dressed and he's wearing jeans, farm boots, and a little hat and a plaid shirt. So I take one look at it, and I was the class clown in forensics, but so I look at this, take one look, I go, looks like whoever did him in is going to go to an old McDonald's head in jail.
So, what is the main thing you've been doing ever since you've graduated high school? Like, what have you been doing with your firefighting and EMT stuff? What's been going on? That's what people have been wondering. That's the real questions.
Wait, hold on, ask that again. I just found something I forgot was a quote from my fire chief. Oh no, dirty joke, not quote. That won't be said here.
Anyway, well, yeah.
Forgot about that.
The real question is, people are wondering what you're doing after you graduate high school. What's been going on? What have you been doing with your firefighting?
People actually ask? Oh, this is great.
People want you to return. They really miss you.
I remember I came in to get my transcript from the high school a few months ago. I walk in, they're all like, Albert! Every guy's banging on windows. So it's like when you bring a new inmate into the pen, they're walking them in, everyone's beating on the bars. They're all beating on the bars, so to speak. They're all, windows, Albert! I come in, I was probably wearing exactly this because I came from the firehouse when I did it. I spend basically every day at the firehouse. In fact, I live there now, so That's not true because it only took me like 5 minutes to get here. I'm around the corner, but effective as soon as they actually purchased bed sheets for my bunk room. I live there. But the plan so far with how that's going to everyone who's interested is, so we're looking at that's December 10th. So 3 days, 1 month is the date of the Ithaca firefighter test, civil service exam. So, that being said, that gives me exactly a month to private every bit of social media I own.
You're gonna go forward with that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going forward with it. So, jokes aside about the privating every bit of social media, but I might actually do that just when they're scanning. But anyways, so jokes aside with that, but the plan here is after I do that, right? So when you take a civil service test, they score it or whatever, then they put you on a list. You get put into each percentile per your score, and it's in increments of 5. So you have your hundreds, then you have your 95s, so on and so forth. Everything like that. So the goal is you get 100 on the test, you get an automatic interview. If you get an interview, they interview you, make sure you're not a nut, make sure you're actually want to do the job. And if you do well with the interview, then I believe they call that canvassing. So after they canvass you and they do your interview, then they take you to, or then you go to Montour Falls with the recruit class. The first day at Montour Falls, aside from getting assigned a room and all of that, because Montour Falls is the State Academy of Fire Sciences. A lot of people don't know this, but it used to be a college back when. Then the guy who owned it kind of went into debt, and something happened and ended up as the State Fire Academy. So they still have dorms there, and people still live there. So you go there, it's this big, basically a college, but for firemen. And so you stay there for 14 weeks. The first thing you do is the CPAT, Candidate Physical Ability Test. And so that weeds out the boys from the men in terms of, okay, you can talk and you can do well on paper, but can you actually physically do the job? And so with that, that's a lot of, physical agility stuff and making sure, you're not going to die in the academy, essentially. You can actually have the physical strength to do that. So I've been doing some strength training, just to make sure that, I'm not one of the, I don't know, maybe 3 people have died up there in the past few years. Making sure I'm not the 4th kind of thing. I've been doing some physical preparations for that. So the whole purpose with that is to, get you in shape for it. And a lot of it's just physical activity, and then there's a lot of it that's also classroom work and a lot of physical stuff with firefighting stuff. So they'll teach you basically everything I already know and then some. They'll teach me, the basics. They'll teach me how to fight fire. They'll run us through drills. They'll teach us truck company operations, which I missed out on the class this intake at Cortland, so because I had EMT, so depending on when it is, I'll do it either next intake or I'll just do it at Montour. But they'll teach us self-rescue. They'll teach us, how to save yourself when you get into a tight spot. They'll teach you vehicle extrication and everything. They train you to the technician level, so it'll be like an advanced step up from the current level certification I held in vehicle extrication. And they'll teach you hazmat technician. They'll teach you rope rescue technician, high angle, low angle, all that fun stuff. And so they go. Oh, my telephone's ringing. No, it's not important. So they'll go from. They teach you all that in about 14 weeks. After that, assuming I make it through the academy, I'm not, number 4 on the list of recent passings, and I don't fail out and end up getting sent home. I go back to Ithaca, and there's an additional 10 weeks of training you do with the Ithaca Fire Department. That's getting used to. So in the academy, you operate with a 4-man crew. Those 3 other people are your lifeline. They are your brothers. You work with them. You do everything with them. You eat, sleep, and together. Well, okay, maybe not that last part, but it's insinuated. And so you get real used to working in a 4-man crew. Now, welcome to Ithaca. Population of about 60 to 90,000, something like that. They operate 4 fire stations fully staffed. Current shift rotation is a 10-hour day shift and a 14-hour night shift, but that changes January 2nd to a 24-hour shift. So, 24-hour shift with a 24-hour, so that's 24-hour day coverage from these 4 fire stations. They operate 4 engines, 1 ladder truck, cross-staff 2 rescue units, and they have 2 additional spare engines plus 1 engine that's dedicated to use by the codes division. So, that being said, that's a lot of trucks, but they only have a minimum of 11 people and a maximum of 15 people on shift each night, or each day. So, that being said, fire engine seats about 6 or 7 people total, depending on the model. So most cities will have maybe 4 on an engine. Ithaca's got 2 on an engine, or sometimes 3, depends. So that being said, when the 10 weeks of training you do with Ithaca is getting used to operating with a 2-man crew. Learning that remember those 3 other guys? Yeah, take about 1 of them. Those other 2 guys, they're on a different truck. Maybe they're on the other side of the city. But you get used to working. They get you used to working the Ithaca way. They teach you things they don't teach you at the State Academy, like the Cleveland role for how they store their crosslays and their attack lines. They have you study maps. You know how to get to every location within the city of Ithaca, day or night, with snow on the ground, traffic, you name it, it's there. You know every possible way you're getting there. And they make sure, that you're used to operating the area, and all of that. So there's a lot of training that goes into that before you're truly ready for the road and ready as a firefighter with the city of Ithaca.
So within the next, essentially a few months, few hundred days, you're going to be, taking your civil service exam. You're going to try to become a full-time, firefighter affiliated with Ithaca, go through the academy, go through that stuff. And you're also, in the meantime, going to be moving to the bunkers at the volunteer fire department?
Yes. So probably within, hopefully the end of the week, I will be moving my winter clothes, the 10 other versions of what I'm wearing now, and probably a very select few personal items over to one of the bunk rooms at the Central Fire Station, and living there for a period of time. Probably, I'm hoping just through the winter, but if I like it, I'll stay longer. There's an old adage, okay, no there isn't, but from what I've ascertained from talking to the other bunker, if you want sleep, don't live in a fire station. We're not all that busy, depending, we're in a dry spell right now, but actually I said that we're gonna get a big one tonight, but we can't have a big one this close to the other one, because we had a big 3-alarm fire over in the village the other day. But now we have, what do we do? So I'll be living there full time, and basically contract says they're hoping to get this changed, that if you're in the building you have to run the call. So that's probably, we do about 50 to 100 a month, depending. We're actually on track to, unless December is particularly busy, we're going to do less calls this year than we did last year. Last year was very busy. We do usually 1,000 or a little over that each year. Last year we did about 1,100 for calls. But yeah, no, I'm going to be moving into the fire station, so, there's ground rules to follow. There's stuff you can't do. You can't have pets. You can't, listen to loud music. You can't play an instrument there. Stuff like that. Just don't disturb the other bunkers, basically. Other than that, it's nice. You get your own little keypad access side of the station no one else can get into. You know, there's a nice big screen television set. There's lots of benefits of staying at a firehouse.
So you weren't fully committed to this as hard as you're planning to become a full-on paid firefighter. You thought this is sort of like a beginning step to something bigger?
Entirely. I couldn't have said it better myself. So part of it's just because I want to, you know, really get used to the aspect of sleeping, you know, in a bed that's not my own. That's probably, let's be honest, the cheapest they could find. Not saying anything badly of, you know, our budget. We have a better budget than the IFD. Well, it's not that we have a bigger budget. It's just everything's better spent, you could say. No. We're not going for grant. We don't have to rely on grant money to buy apparatus and stuff in terms. That's the way that our budget's supposedly better, but no. We pay for our trucks in cash, no grant money or anything. City of Ithaca's putting up a new station. They had to do, it's going to be about $1 million, so they're getting most of that in grants. Very little of it's actually coming out of their operating budget, but hopefully that changes soon. They get a better budget because they desperately need it, but it is, you know, they make do with what they can, and how we make do with what we can. I mean, the bunker is currently running most of the calls that come in at night. You know, when beginning of this year, you know, we could fill a truck for a fire alarm. Nowadays, you're lucky if anyone besides the chief who's on duty goes. For just a fire alarm like the mall, which is always a false alarm. I haven't seen it burn once. That's because that fire alarm system is...
It's just basic and it hasn't been upgraded in a while.
I don't know if it hasn't been upgraded in a while because they're supposed to be upgraded, but the way everything's patched together is an absolute mess. But it's fun. I didn't know where mall jail was in there till I started.
There's a mall jail?
There's a mall jail in every mall. I think it's just the manager's office, to be completely honest, but I call it mall jail as a joke. But we have the old movie theater, that detector head there every night at 3 a.m.
One time I was 10 years old, I was watching Finding Dory, and the movie got paused because there was a fire alarm. There was like a bunch of elementary school classes there, a bunch of kids also, and it took like 30, 40 minutes for everything to get back to normal.
Yeah, it sounds about right. We walk around the mall for 30 to 40 minutes, go in the back rooms of the mall, trying to figure out what's wrong, because there are back rooms, and they are real, and they are ever so confusing and definitely impressive to walk around. I enjoy walking around the back rooms of the mall. But we go in there, we walk around, probably 30 to 40 minutes. We've covered the entire mall and found just about everything that could go wrong. Reset it, we get back in the truck, it goes off again. We go back, do the same thing, and eventually, if the sun hasn't come up yet, we leave.
Is moving hard? Is it like really challenging? A lot of people they don't move or even consider moving till they're 21, 22 years old. Was it hard for you to fully commit to move live in a bunker life, or is it what you always desired?
Ever since I joined, I always thought it'd be cool to live at the fire station when I found out that was an option. To be completely honest, I've got nothing to my name, so the hardest part of this is just going to be stretching what I've got in my bank account for groceries for the time being. But because, yeah, sure, I may be lazy for not actually going out seeking a 9-to-5 job, but my unwillingness to go out and get a regular layman's job and instead fully prepare for a paid firefighting career is the benefit to the fire department here, because I am available 24 hours a day. If you call 911, there's a very good chance I show up.
Now, you also sell fire sirens on the side, right?
Lights. I did that as a brief gig. I still have those. Never sold one. I still have the display models I was given. So my dad's cousin, I probably could still try to sell them. My dad's cousin owns a lighting company down in Arkansas. If you know Tomate, that's the one. They gave me. So, anyways, second cousin Brian comes up to visit the Ithaca Cortland area a few summers ago. You know, exchange stories. You know, have a lot of fun together. And, you know, he hears we're both firemen. He says, well, we've got some lights we've been putting together for, selling to the volunteer fire market, either in a profession or to the fire market and whatnot. If you guys want to get a look at those, then I'll send you a few samples free of charge and,
tell your son there if he can sell a few, he'll even get a little bit of a commission from it. So I went ahead and I said, all right, sure thing, cousin Brian. And well, I ended up with a light you can stick on a traffic cone that you can change the flash pattern and the color with a magnet just in front of it, little bar magnet, changes it, really cool. And I ended up with a rotating beacon that you can slap on your car with a magnet, and it's got a few different colors. It's not even rotating, it's flashing. All LED, very bright, very good light. But yeah, no, I did that, and I still have those, and now that I live at the fire station, I definitely knew it. I've maybe used those on my car once going to a call, and the chief who was on duty was like adamantly against members using blue lights. So I pull up to the seat of my Tahoe. I've got the strobe going on the roof. He looks at me with the absolute look of death.
Well, what's wrong with blue lights?
So the whole thing with the blue light is in the state of New York, volunteer firefighters are authorized to operate a blue light if they have a signed card from their chief. The law, if I recall, the way it's phrased, because it's a very old law, is a singular rotating blue beacon. Obviously the law just needs to be rewritten because no one buys a singular rotating blue beacon anymore because it's impossible to find very many people who still make a singular rotating blue beacon. But that's not true because my first one was. But shout out to Wolo Lights USA. But love their products. It's all a bunch of remakes of old Federal Signal products that aren't made anymore. Great stuff. They're out in Deer Park, Long Island. But anyways, the whole thing with the blue light. So aside from me not having a signed blue light card, is that if you drive like a jerk when you're on your way to the station and you have that blue light going, the people who are going to complain know where to come to complain. It's the same thing with having a sticker in your window that says, I'm with the fire company. They know, who to complain to. So, as a result, they don't really like it when members use blue lights, so they don't really give them out. There's a few people I know who still have blue lights who are actually given cards, but not many people use them. And also the other thing is people see flashing lights behind them. They, in theory, should move out of the way. I've had it happen to me. People have had it happen to them. Is they see those blue lights come up behind them, they freeze. They come to a dead stop. Right there in the middle of the road. So at this point, they come to a dead stop. I'm, trying to come to a dead stop, so I don't hit them. And then if there's cars coming in the oncoming lane, forget it, because people don't know what to do. They just stop right there. In theory it works. In practice, people are idiots and they freeze and they see flashing lights. The same thing will happen with a big green fire truck, trust me. It's almost happened before. That's the whole thing with the blue light, yeah.
So it's like a safety thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's a safety thing. They don't want anyone getting hurt, they don't want to get sued.
Yeah, it's all very complicated legal law limbo.
Exactly.
So you did the Shenandoah audition for Varsity Crowd this senior last year.
Yes,
now as an alumni, do you ever have any plans to show up to the winter concert with Shenandoah?
Tell me when it is, I'll be there. I'm in the area. If I'm not doing fire-related stuff, I'll probably be there.
If today's the 10th, then tomorrow, it's going to be December 18th at 7 p.m.
Shoot, alright, 7 p.m.? Yeah, I can do that. Is the 18th that Tuesday or Thursday?
It's a Monday.
Oh yeah, I could definitely make it.
And people, they really want you to do it. They really want you to come to the concert.
18th. If I don't have EMT class that night, and I don't think I should, I will be able to make it.
Both the soloists this year are girls.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Silva
Nice.
and Robinson. They got the
Nice.
solo.
Oh, that's great.
Unfortunately,
really happy for him.
I wasn't able to audition, due to my injury. I was in the hospital and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad they will. I have 2 more chorus concerts, 2 more stuff. And the funny thing is, actually, this year the I don't even know what you call it. It's at the very end of March, but it's not really spring. So it's I don't know, what do you call it? I guess the end of March concert, the post-musical concert.
Spring concert.
Spring concert, yeah. I guess if you want to be technical, it's the very beginning a spring concert. It's on actually
Exactly.
it's actually on the course director's birthday. And,
Oh, nice.
That's just fascinating because I just found it fascinating.
It's South's birthday concert.
It's his daughter's gonna be in it and his wife's gonna be involved with it. So it's just very interesting. But anyways, thanks for talking about on the show. It was so glad to hear you speak about what's been going on lately, like what you did, how you got started out with Discord, firefighting, musical, playing the trombone and chorus. And I hope to have you on sometime in the future. And I hope
Definitely.
you continue to see with doing such a big transition in your life. Moving into a bunker, getting your civil service exam. That stuff isn't easy. You don't see not everybody off the street can just go and do that type of stuff and commit to stuff like you do.
Well, thank you.
That's
I mean,
impressive.
I think everyone's got that drive in them. It's just a matter of discovering it. So, those of you out there, 16 and older, in the town of Lansing or whatever town you're in, chances are your fire department's got a junior program. Go out there, sign up, get involved with the community. It's great deal of fun. Had my fair share of fun. I mean, a lot of those stories I can't say here, but it's a lot of fun.